Good morning, class. We're going to be discovering the matter of decimals, fractions, and percentages, and use it in this matter of diversity. And what I've done is I've created some worksheets where we're going to be covering the matter of racial integration in the U.S. and show how much it's increased, and then also discover the differences between towns in their races and ethnic groups among them. And then for an individual worksheet, we're going to have this matter of decimals, fractions, and percentages having to deal with radio. Now, first of all, before we begin going through the worksheets, we're going to do a simple review of this matter of decimals, fractions, and percentages. And like I have drawn here, you see that we have a square divided into two pieces. And say that I was wanting to take part of it. What would we have as the fraction? You have your numerator over denominator, so I'm getting 1 out of the total 2 pieces. It's equal to 1/2. And another way that you can see it oftentimes in sports, businesses, you will see it listed as a ratio where it has the 1, and there will be 2 dots there, a colon, like you have in grammar, 2, 1 to 2. And what we have to do next is decide out what the percentage and decimals are going to be on this fraction of 1/2. But what I'm going to do here is to take off this ratio and show you how that you can figure out what your amount is in decimal. This would be also listed 1 divided by 2. So we're going to have our divisor 2 going into the number 1. And we automatically align the decimal, and we know that 2 is more than 1, so that's going to be 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. Bring down the 0. 2 into 10 is 5. And 10 minus 10 equals 0. So you bring down the 0. And there you have 0.50. And oftentimes, when dealing with sports, business, they oftentimes remove the 0 before the decimal. You may see it written 0.50. It's still the same. It's automatically understood that the 0 is in front of that. And so you will see that, and that would be your decimal equivalent for 1/2. Then, what you would do is our answer that we had there in decimal, you would convert that to percentages. And in order to do that, you would take 0.50 equals your percentage. And what you're going to do is to take the 0.50 and move it over 2 figures to the right, which creates the number 50. And there you have your answer. It's 50%. And you will see this when you see advertisements on TV. It's going to be showing you, oh, and Bell's has a fall sale this weekend only. And you can get 20% off the original price. Well, be able to know what the 20% is, you would convert it backwards. You would take 20%. Let me get this redone here. 20%. You know the number 20 is 20.0. So you move it backwards 2 numbers to the left to get your equivalent of where the decimal is going to be. So you would take your price of $10, say there was a $10 item you bought, times 0.2. You have 20 and move it over 1. You have 1 decimal point there. That's $2 that you're going to get off. That's only the discount. Then you take 10 minus 2 equals $8, your final cost. outside your sales tax that you always have to pay on your items considered not essential. And you need to make sure you know what that is going to be when you go to the counter and watch the scan, and make sure that when they scan your item with that discount, you receive it. And if you see something different, let them know you had this in this 20% discount rack and you didn't take it off. Then they can call up somebody to double check it, so you don't end up losing money. You can save money. And what we're going to do is we're going to have some worksheets that deal with this matter of diversity. And one of the first ones that I created here, that you can see, is this math worksheet. And it compares the U.S. ancestry figures for the year 1790 and the year 2000. And what I've done is those that had the same figures, it had figures between these two in this one native group. Some of them did not have those figures for back in 1790. So I picked the ones that had both columns. And we have a total of 8 groups which we had figures. And what I've done is I put the column of population at 1790 for that ethnic group, then the year 2000, what it's become, and then over here you'll have the numerical figures where you're going to put your answer down here. And this is a number of times greater in 2000 put to the nearest hundredth. Another one that we're going to do, it's a short one here, 4 answers, and it covers the 2005 North Texas County statistics. And I give you what the metropolitan area is, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Metro, and the population at that time. Then I have down here the breakdown of racial and ethnic diversity, and it has the groups listed here. Then you have your percentages, and then you're to figure out the numerical value of that, and you'll put your answers down here corresponding to your number. Another one that deals with that county, North Texas County, it has to deal with a population analysis in the same year, 2005. And this one will give you your same information, but it will have the breakdowns divided into 4 according to age. It's got 5 years old and under, 18 years old and under, 65 years and older, and female persons, and it gives a percentage, so you'll figure out the numerical value that goes with that. And then also here, we have this worksheet covering the population diversity in Houston for the year 2000. And you'll have all the different races, which I found information for. And then you're going to have your percentages listed here, and you give the estimated number, and you'll have your blanks provided to correspond with your numbers. Just like on the other ones, you'll have your corresponding numbers. And then what we're going to do as an individual item is we're going to do this radio scenario worksheet. And I'm sure all of you like music. I know I do. I love music. And so I have a scenario given the information up here in which this gentleman from a group wanted to figure out what number of songs they could evenly play within 1 hour. And so he has here listed based on what he heard on a radio station, the stats concerning the different types of music. You'll see listed here in this blue column, and they'll be in white. And it'll give you your stats here of how many. And then it will tell you to figure out, according to the different types of music, how many songs per hour that equals. Then convert that songs per hour into fractions, decimals, and percentages. And then there's 2 additional questions down here where you'll have space to work on it, or if you need to, you can use the back of the sheet. It'll be blank for you to figure that out. And you can be able to figure this out on your own. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have the groups that we mentioned yesterday, groups A and C, you're going to be divided up into 3 different groups. And I want you to go ahead and start getting to your seating areas, which we've designed for you. In Group B, there's going to be 2 groups. The group's large enough where we can divide it up evenly into 2 groups. And I want you to, after you receive these worksheets, I want you to begin working on that. But I wanted to also bring to your attention that there's many things in life that you're going to see stats on. And how many like sports? I know I do. I love sports. There's certain ones I favor more than others. But oftentimes, like for example, when you see the World Series being played and you hear about the batter coming up to the home plate, getting ready to bat, what do you see? The stats. It immediately shows his name, what position he plays. And the first thing you see there in the left column is a batting average. And it will always be in a decimal format. Say, for example, that he had a batting average of 3.304. And what we do is we'd find out how much that is in percentage. We'd move it over, like we did earlier, 2 points over, and that means 30.4% of the time when he comes up to bat, he's able to make a hit. So that's going to provide sometimes where he may be intentionally walked, other times he strikes out, other times he may just simply have it caught in midair, he fouled out. You got to consider that when you're doing baseball. You're not always going to be able to hit a hit every time. Sometimes if you have a real good high batting average, they intentionally walk you, and you'll see the catcher get up with his mitt and take it over, and he moves over out of the way, so there's no way he can hit that ball and cause some more runs for the opponents. You see it all the time. They intentionally do it. And you have it with all the different pitchers. You see stats on them when they come to the mound taking a place of another one that was up there for so many innings, say 5 2/3 innings. That means he had complete 5 innings and 2 outs on the 6th. So they rate it 5 2/3 innings. Then they come up bringing the new one. As he comes from the bullpen in the back of the field and comes forward, what do? They always bring up a chart showing you. And it will show how many strikes, how many balls he's had, how many innings pitched, his opponent's batting average when he serves as pitcher. It will show all those stats. And oftentimes what you want to see is when they give you the stats, it will be abbreviated different. It's not going to say strikes. It'll have 2 Ks there. Then it'll have a slash. Number of strikes, slash, towards BB. And that means bases balked, another term for walk. And they'll have the 2 Ks slash 2B. And then you'll see the numbers corresponding to it. And so you want to have more strikes than you do walks, so you can have your team helped in winning games. That's what you're there to do, is help get the person out on the other team, so that your team can turn around and end up winning for themselves and be able to go on to the championship. And so you'll see these type of stats here dealing with those type items. And so what I want to do is have you begin now to work on your worksheets that we discussed earlier. And I'm going to provide you 10 to 20 minutes to get this done. And once we're done, I'm going to have you turn in the sheets. And then, once we complete that, then I'm going to have each of you go back to your individual desk, and I'll hand out this radio worksheet that we had discussed earlier. I want you to be able to go through and complete this, the chart plus the 2 questions down here, and figure out, using your critical thinking here, of what this means. If this is equal to this, what will be the answer? And we're going to go through after we've completed all of it, and you'll have 10 minutes to complete this, and then we'll do a quick review of what the terms decimals, fractions, and percentages are all about. And you need to realize that it's essential that we know how to perform these tasks, because otherwise, in the future, when you get ready to go on to college, or you live by yourself and you want to be able to make sure that you're not getting too much taken out of your paycheck, you know what to look for. And so we want to be able to get this done, and we thank you very much. You have a good day.